graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Take this job and shove it.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm not gonna do what everyone thinks I'm gonna do. Flip out, man. All I want to know is who's coming. Who's coming? Who's coming with me? Huh? Who's coming with me, man?
I will.
Chan. Thank you, Chan. Yeah.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
I don't care. I don't care. Shut up. I don't care. We hate you. I don't care. We're gonna shoot you.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers One podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris. I'm Paul. And Paul, ready? You ready for the bombshell, people?
Are you ready? Are you ready to hear what just happened today?
Yeah,
like
I mean, literally about an hour ago before I got here. Well, a little more than an hour ago because we were kind of just.
Wait, I'll tell the people you got laid.
No, shit, I wish. That's good news. That's not a bombshell.
Oh, yeah.
No, well, no. And I'm probably this will probably only go to the people that are watching the stream or listening to the podcast. I lost my job, and like literally, we were planning. Okay, I was gonna go to Paul's house. We were gonna record the podcast. Then I was gonna go to work after that, and it's a long, kind of embarrassing story, which I probably will get into one day. But for the time being, I don't want to talk about it. But you know, and I don't. This isn't a surprise to me. It's something that kind of happened, and it was kind of. I thought everything was all quiet as kept, but I guess they were fucking holding their cards. So with that being said, fuck you, Rite Aid. Fuck you. I purposely, I was doing my best for the past 3 years. Now, mind you, the podcast I've had longer than my job. When I started the podcast, I was unemployed. Now here we are in the middle of the podcast. I'm unemployed yet again, and I was trying my best not to. And Jen goes right, and Jen, you took the words right out of my mouth. I hated working there. Me losing this job, and of course, I'm still like in shock, and I'm still kind of taking it all in. But you know what? This is a fucking blessing in disguise. I hated that fucking job. I hated the fucking people I worked with. I mean, don't get me wrong. Were there a few bright candles in the darkness? Yes, there were some good people that I worked with, people that work hard and do what they got to do. But that being said, I also worked with a... Jen goes, it's the circle of pod. It is. And hopefully, this will be a kick in the ass for me to go do something. Probably invest a little more time into the podcast. Hey, I got nothing but fucking time now. Invest into my other projects. I've been wanting to do my second book. I wanted to record myself reading my second book and release it as a quote-unquote audiobook and put those up as videos on YouTube. So like and you'd have to watch each chapter to get to, so you have to watch a video. I can monetize the videos, and it's original content. No one could take that away from me. They can't say, whatever. And maybe that'll catch the eye of some other writer. This is National Novel Writing Month in NaNoWriMo, which I wrote my first 2 books as NaNoWriMo in November. So I should take advantage of the month and fucking start writing.
We should talk about the most important thing you're gonna have to do.
I'm gonna have to cut the beard.
Yes, you are.
I mean, I don't like. Obviously, I'm gonna fucking apply for unemployment for the time being. Not that I want. I mean, of course, I'm gonna start looking for a job, but I'm gonna have to say goodbye to my beard, which has been with me for 2 years. I mean, this was the beard that was with me on the Jack and Triumph show. This is the beard that's been with me to 3 Comic-Cons. Over 2 years, and you know, I'm probably gonna film it just because I'm that much of an asshole. I'm that much of a self-centered. It's gonna be. I'll probably make it into a stranger vlog.
You know what you should do before you take the keys back? You should just, or actually when you go to take the keys back, instead of taking them inside, you should just throw them on the sidewalk and be like, "Here's my keys, bitch."
Well, see, the whole thing is that like it was my boss that called me, and I was like on my way to Paul's house, and I'm not mad at my boss. It's not her. It's not her. She didn't do anything wrong. And once again, you know, like I said, I mean, I hated my coworkers, except for one in particular who was probably the impetus behind this firing. You know, I have relative respect for the people I worked with. You know, but you know what? I got to get the fuck out of retail. You know, those people, I've worked with certain people where, like, if that's going to be your life, like a fucking, you know, like, if that's where you've peaked at fucking management in retail, then you've just given up on life.
Well, I think the people have heard enough stories of people robbing the store and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm finding this out on Wednesday, which was the last day I worked there. I mean, even right before, I would say probably half an hour before I left, I had to stop a guy from stealing Red Bulls. He was shoving them in his jacket. And not that I put myself in his way, but I was, you know, I knew he took a bunch of them. I recovered, not all of them, but I recovered some Red Bull, you know, because he wanted to shut me up, so he gave me what he had. But, you know, like, you know, I was there, you know, trying my best to help them keep their their property on their shelves. And, you know, I've got, you know, for those who follow the podcast, you know, I was punched in the face back in January working for Rite Aid. You know, so, I mean, and Paul was telling me, and Paul was like, you know, Chris, why don't you call you a union guy? And you know what? If I really, really fought it, yes, maybe I would keep my job or whatever the case may be. But this is a blessing in disguise. You know, Darrell says, sorry. Thanks a lot, Darrell. This is a blessing in disguise. It really is. I fucking hated that job. So fuck you, Rite Aid. Fuck you. I hope when Walgreens takes over, I hope they shut you all the fuck down. Walgreens, you know, they have the money to do it, and they were buying it. They were going to buy the company, and it was supposed to be taking place like around this time of the year, but I think they pushed it back a little bit. But in places like here in Rochester, I mean, there's a couple places where Walgreens and Rite Aids are like across the street from each other. So something's got to give. So they're going to be closing stores in Rochester. You know what? Okay, I got fired, but you know, I probably got fired right before the fucking ship started sinking. You know, before shit got real fucking bad. You know, was this a surprise to me? Yeah, it was a surprise. But you know what? Fuck this. Fuck you, Rite Aid. You know, they have. Where I work, and mind you, I was working in the corporate store. You know what I'm saying? And you know, security is a fucking joke. You know, they just allow people to fucking steal. I'm gonna probably. I should just. This is podcast therapy, people. I should probably censor myself before I say something that I'm going to regret. So I will probably just kind of chill on that. All I'm saying is that, you know, you lost a good employee. You know, but if you know, go right ahead and keep on, you know, with the people that you have. You know, like I said, there was a few bright lights in the fucking darkness, but you know, I didn't get paid well. You know, look, I have to come to Paul's house because I can't even fucking afford Wi-Fi. And mind you, you know, I work over 35 hours a week. You know, I shouldn't be living in fucking poverty. I live in a very inexpensive apartment. I have an old car. You know, I have very basic car insurance. So if I'm working almost basically a full-time job and I'm still fucking struggling, fuck you, Rite Aid. You're doing me a favor by letting me leave. Well, not letting me, but you know, they're firing me, but fuck you. Welcome to all the new listeners. I mean, before all this had happened, I had just started. Well, one, I have officially reset twostrangersonepodcast.net. It is an ugly looking site, but it is a free site, and it will get you everything you need to know. I have started a new group on Facebook, Two Strangers One Podcast Network on Facebook. So I'm going to be spamming the hell out of people and having to get them join the group. So if you are new to the podcast, welcome, welcome to my fucking pain. That's the whole point of this show. Is we kind of the first half we kind of talk about our personal lives or stuff in the news and stuff like that, and the second half we'll talk about nerdy news. But it's funny, Paul. I have recently said I love comic book movies. I love science fiction. I love, genre movies, I guess you would put it. I'm now trying my best to avoid trailers.
Yeah, I don't understand you.
Because it's like if you watch a trailer, let's
so
the
I get what you're saying.
3 movies I can say off the top of my head. Okay, Rogue One,
Logan.
Oh yeah. Well, excuse me, I forgot about Old Man Logan. So Old Man Logan, Rogue One, Doctor Strange, and even now Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
There wasn't really much to that trailer, but yeah.
But okay, all 4 of these movies that I just named are going to be movies that I'm going to go see. This isn't. It's no fucking surprise that I'm going to go and watch these movies and enjoy them, or at least be excited for them. So why let the trailers? But now that may put a dent in the show because we used to talk about trailers and stuff like that. But I kind of like my own personal. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm thinking maybe if I avoid the trailers. Like, have you ever seen, you ever caught, a movie, on cable in the middle of the night, and it's like, you have no idea what the movie is, and you watch it, wow, this movie's fucking good. I never even heard of it. I kind of obviously, look, I'm gonna like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm gonna like Rogue One. I'm gonna like Doctor Strange. Unfortunately, Doctor Strange is probably the one that I've seen most of. Rogue One, I've only seen that one trailer where it's the stupid siren that...
Oh, that one, yeah.
So...
Don't ever do that again.
So with that, I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna like a Star Wars movie. I'm gonna like a Marvel movie. Why not sort of hold back? Like not getting laid. As what they call edging, when someone they jerk off, they jerk off, but they right before they come, they kind of stop.
Yeah.
Then you jerk off again. So this is sort of my version of edging. I'm a glutton for punishment. I mean, hey, look, I haven't had a fucking drink in over 4 or 5 years. What else? I've been doing this podcast for fucking 4 years. I've been growing this beard for 2 years. I'm a patient man. I'm methodical, almost fucking sociopathic. So I think I can keep myself sort of I can hold back from the trailers. I want to see what I can to see if I can. So then when I see the movie, it's not spoiled. Sometimes these trailers spoil some of the best parts of the movie. Now, don't get me wrong. I still listen to podcasts that talk about movies and talk about trailers, and of course it's going to be discussed. And shit that happens on TV and in the movies. I mean, they get discussed, and it is what it is. So I mean, I'm not going to totally avoid, I'm not going to listen to all my favorite podcasts that talk about comic book movies. It's not like I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to oh, the new Doctor Strange trailer is out. Let me click on it. No, I'm not going to happen. That's, and of course there's other little, they had Doctor Strange goes to fucking Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. I mean, I could watch that because that's not really spoiling anything in the movie. So I've been sort of actively trying not to follow trailers, which I don't know how it's I don't know how it's going to affect the show, but just deal with me. Who knows? Maybe I'll fucking give up and say, okay, oh look, somebody's calling me. What is this? Nope, this is a bill collector sort of a when you have the phone, you have this is a
podcast.
This is a Net10 phone, if I'm not mistaken, and it's $50 a month, unlimited. It's unlimited data, but the first 5 gigs is 4G, and then the rest of the month, whatever. If you happen to hit more than 5 gigs, then it just goes down to 2G or some shit like that. But
it goes down to who?
Yeah, but But with that being said, Jesus Christ, I get 1 phone call a day, which I didn't even fucking bother answering because it's always fucking garbage, basura, as they say in Spanish. So what were we going to talk about before this sudden change of events that happened? One thing, I guess, obviously, we're a week away, and of course, coming to Paul's house, people, you have to understand, coming to Paul's house, when you walk in the door, he doesn't leave CNN. I mean, you know, if it isn't, I mean, obviously, you know, he has his stepdaughter or whatever, like, you know, she watches her movies and her cartoons and stuff like that. If she isn't watching her shows, which by the time I got here, she wasn't even home from school yet. But even sometimes you like, okay, enough of the Paw Patrol. We're gonna put the Paul Broadcasting Cable Network. You know, Paul has to stay plugged in, and he's all right. And he's on his phone like on clearpolitics.com, and he's got the CNN running. And you know, and
I get invested in these presidential elections, okay? Jesus Christ.
I mean, and especially now, I mean, okay, we are getting like we are a week away from, you know, the election, so things obviously, you know, it's going to be all over pop culture. It's going to be all over media. The news is going to cover every bit of it because, you know, we're hitting the climax. We're about to bust a nut all over the country, and you know. So.
Well, you can just let me have this segment because I can bitch for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, well, I don't. I have nothing really prepared. You know, we do live in a country where, thank goodness, we can all agree to disagree, and you know. But I'll, you know,
you can
acquiesce the floor to you, sir, when it comes
for the record, I'm only watching CNN this much because it's the presidential election. I will not be watching it. I'll probably watch it a little bit between November 9th and whenever, I think it's January 21st is when the president is usually...
Yeah, it's usually like the 20th or
so
21st.
I'll probably be in between there. I probably will be watching just a little bit more. But after that, I usually turn off CNN because it just... The problem is when CNN isn't covering politics, and this goes for any news network, it's just like... if you watch it too much, you're just like, wow, this world sucks.
Yeah, I generally don't watch. That's why I love superhero movies and fucking comic books and shit like that. Because fucking when I watch the news, I get depressed.
It's very depressing.
All these people got shot, and all these terrorists blew some other shit up.
Take down that picture off your computer, you son of a bitch.
No, well, I'm checking to see. I'm checking to see if we have any mail from Oscar. But go on.
So, okay, so what happened? First of all, number one, if you're voting for Trump at this point, you're an idiot. Number two, if you're voting for a second party, you're an idiot. Especially when Gary Johnson fucking can't even sit there and tell you what a leader's name is, let alone like I think sometimes what his own name is. And a lot of people have moved away from him. The thing is I love how it's coming. We're within 6 days. We're recording this on a Wednesday. It's 6 days away from when we vote. I will be voting on Tuesday, come hell or high water. Even though really in New York State our vote doesn't really matter because, well, we're pure Democrat. We're all going to vote Democrat pretty much. Not all of us, but it's usually between 55 to 65% of the state votes Democratic. Usually,
well, those bleeding downstaters, which you know, for those who don't watch in New York State, I mean, just understand that. Okay, New York City is obviously very liberal and very blue, and then you go, you know, anywhere like an hour north of New York City, and it turns very, very red, very, very fast. You know, and that's just, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's just the way of the world. But real quick, I mean, okay, so you're watching the news, and not to cut you off, but one thing that kind of was bothering me is that they keep talking about all these early voters, and I guess that's a thing.
So I guess, and it's really weird to me too, because see, here's the thing: me and you, obviously, people that are under 18 listening to this podcast, or relatively like just turned 18, young, you don't understand. Like, we didn't have the iPhone or any phones where the social media was this like engaged. So. To me, it's so surprising to see.
Everyone's fighting.
Well, that's
brother against brother on fucking Facebook.
It's so surprising to me to see, like, for example, the early voting. Like, I thought it was just people mailing in ballots early. Because here in New York, that's what it is.
Military, they vote early. You know, if you're not in your state, college students, you vote early because, you know.
Right.
You know, if you're a person that has, you know, disability, I mean, that's more of an absentee vote, but you still, I gotta say, but like you're watching CNN now, and they're like, and the polls coming in from the early voting, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's people. I mean, of course, I didn't do my research because I'm going to vote on the Tuesday, and especially now I got nothing but free time. But I mean, who besides people that have special fucking conditions on a Tuesday are going out to vote? Like, you know, can't you just wait? I'm sorry.
I know what you're talking about. I think what it is a lot of, there again, it goes by state. It's not every single state does this, but like I was trying to say, New York State, for example, when you're allowed to vote early, you can vote absentee, meaning you can send stuff in. People that are handicapped or just don't feel like going into the polls do this, and that's fine. But what he's talking about, what Chris is talking about, is there's actual polling places in some of these states where they allow you to go in early. North Carolina is an example. Florida is definitely an example. Like just over 3 million people have already voted. It's almost 4 million.
Those people have to vote before I die. I gotta vote. Donald Trump.
So, and by the way, this will probably be. I mean, besides the next podcast where we'll probably bitch if Trump is the guy that wins, which I don't think will happen, but.
Yeah, we're talking about it because it's news. It's not like we can't not.
No,
we can't not talk about it. I mean,
we'll
get back to Doctor Strange and fucking.
So
Captain
what happens
America.
is CNN is plugged in with a company that is actually tracking all these early voting, and you know it's so interesting because this is the first year we've actually started to see some of this stuff. So this is it's really interesting to see all and hear all of this stuff. It's also this year where it seems like people just don't understand what's going on, you know, and it really like depresses me, and that's part of the reason why I'm going to turn off CNN and any news organization, is because it really depresses me when I see like all these people not doing their research and just be like, well, I'm just going to vote for Trump. Like, I've never seen. And granted, I'm only 32 years old, so I've only seen, let's see, 1, 2, maybe 4 or 5 elections. I would have to. No, I mean it's been more than that, but I mean like with the same president. I mean we've had a couple presidents where they've gone over 8 years, where they've gone 8 years.
Well, yeah, Barack was 8, Bill Clinton was 8, George Bush was
8. So that I mean you figure the second George Bush, George W. Bush was 4 years. So. There's 12 years, 8 plus 8 plus 8, that's 24. So that's 24 years of my life already there. And then his father...
Sorry. Let's think about it, Jen. She just has to go.
Before that is 4, so that's 28 years. I was really young when Reagan was in, so, you know, I don't remember that. But, I mean, in none of those elections, when I was actually cognitive to, you know, take it in, I never actually was able... We never had any of this stuff. So, one of the reasons I'm watching is because CNN is really good at doing this stuff, getting the information. But, you know, it's also interesting now, because we have social media so plugged in, you get these smaller sites, like Raw Story, The Hill, Politico. You get all these sites that actually give you a little bit more information than what's not going on. So, for example, CNN's not reporting this. They are reporting the poll, but... 28% of early voters in Florida that have already voted crossed over and voted for Clinton. That's huge.
Which is a tradition. They're traditionally red. They're traditionally Republican.
So, and they're sitting there going, well, she's up 2 points in Florida. I'm like, no shit, because Republicans are voting for her. And I really, looking at the polls and looking at everything, you start to get kind of like an idea of where things are going. And really, I think... Looking at the Electoral College, I think that she's going to have this locked up. I actually think she's going to win Florida, if I'm being honest with you, Chris. So, for me, the only biggest thing that I have going in to Tuesday night into Wednesday, is I hope that she wins both the popular vote and the Electoral College. Because if she doesn't win both, and she just wins the Electoral College... There's going to be riots. And I'm talking about those KK motherfuckers out there that are just, you know, they just want to cause shit. I mean, today we had a report of a black church was set on fire. And guess what was written on the side of the church, Chris? Vote Trump.
Yeah.
Vote Trump. Folks, when you're listening to this podcast, I am not lying to you. Look it up. Look up black church with vote Trump on the side.
Well, anybody who follows, because I had posted it, you had shared it, and I had shared it from your page. I mean, like anybody who follows us on social media would see that that we have the link to the article.
And it's the KKK has endorsed him. These white supremacists are doing robocalls for him, God's sakes. They did one in Utah that was actually sent to CNN. So, that's another reason why I do this. And it's just, at this point, do we really care about an email system that, oh no, she used a private one instead of a government one? Can we please move on from that bullshit?
I mean, and I know that's going to sound like, we're both Hillary supporters, but like, I'm at a point now, and this is going to sound funny because a person who's supporting Trump will definitely kind of call me out on this. Look, if she got a couple people killed, if she had a fucking what's the word? Make a couple people disappear. I'm at a point now where that generally doesn't even fucking bother me anymore. You know what I'm saying? I mean, politics are politics, and I guess people probably I could just say that, and but it's like I don't think Trump is a good choice. I don't. I think he's a loose cannon. He's a great entertainer. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I just don't think he should be running the most powerful nation on the planet. And Hillary Clinton, when Bill Clinton was in office, and it's funny because I just came across a video. It was from Cracked. The people who do Cracked. They did a video where they kind of have a supercut a whole bunch of times. Donald Trump, obviously from years ago, supporting Hillary Clinton.
Exactly.
And we had some of the best years in the White House when the Clintons were in office. And
this gets to my point. Sorry to cut you off, Chris, but this gets to my point. This is why I'm so. It just amazes me, and it just shows how stupid people are. There is so much information out there about Trump, how he supported Hillary and the Clintons. Even in that whole scandal that Bill Clinton had, he was like, oh well, I support him. Fuck those bitches. He didn't say fuck those bitches. Basically. And then you got
fuck those bitches. We're gonna build a wall against the bitches.
I'm gonna take that out of that podcast. And you see all the things he says about women. Hell, Hillary's putting on an ad right now that has stuff about women. She has a Miss Universe that he fucking called fat and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And even on Politico, he is the first candidate to ever lie as much as he has. Mm-hmm. They've kept track of it, just like they kept track of that shit. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem: people don't care.
Yeah.
People don't care. They don't do the research. They don't care. They don't even. They interviewed some girl and she was like trying to give like excuses, and it's like, you're not understanding here, are you?
Well, I think like the people that I've noticed on my timeline, and once again, I love people on my timeline. If I haven't unfriended you by now, then I love you enough where I will tolerate the pro-Trump posts and stuff and anti-Hillary, And once again, it's not like I'm Mr. Super go Hillary, but I'm definitely against Trump. And if you're someone that's still on my timeline, and not that it's some great grand thing like, oh, you're still my friend, and it's not like I'm trying to grandiose myself. But the people that I don't think I've unfriended anybody over Trump and Hillary yet. I don't think I've
No, I don't think so.
And I don't think I've gotten to the point where I understand where people are standing. But one thing I've noticed is the people that do support Trump are the same people that had said Obama's going to take our guns. Mm-hmm. Obama's a secret Muslim, yep. And he's going to bring in Sharia law. And he's gonna give this country to ISIS, and so it's the same people, and it's like and I guess maybe they're not pro-Trump, but they're anti-Hillary.
Well, here's the thing. This, if you actually did your research, it is true. Hillary Clinton is the most qualified candidate we've ever had running for president. She's had the most positions in our government. She knows how it works, and this is exactly who you want. I always say this to people, if the presidency of the United States was a job, and I was hiring somebody, and I was just looking strictly at resumes. I didn't really give a shit about, this isn't about politics. This is about a resume.
Yeah,
Clinton, hands down, would get this job. And it's not because she's a woman, and it's not because of anything else, her name or not. If I look directly at, that's what I always do when I interview somebody. I look directly at the resume, Chris, and I say, look, what does this person have over this person? So, for example, let's say I'm hiring for the place I work at. Do they have any of that experience? And if I see somebody with that experience, I go, this person's resume is coming right over here, and I'm going to look at this in a minute because this person definitely has caught my eye. So you're talking about somebody that is the most qualified person for the presidency, and yet you want to vote Trump in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's really weird because I think what's been happening in the polls is Republicans going back and forth, because they're like, I can't stand Trump. Oh, wait, Trump's doing good in the polls, so I'm coming back. Oh, he did something, so I got to come back to Clinton. Trump is making if Trump wins, he's going to destroy the Republican Party. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's people. It's splintering off now. There's enough people who there's a vocal contingency of people that say,
look, you can't.
I don't like Trump, but I'm going to support him because he's our guy.
You can't go and endorse him, then revoke your endorsement, and then come back and try to endorse him again. That doesn't work. I'm sorry. And here's the point that I'm trying to make, Chris. If we really want to change this country, then you need to hold the president accountable. Okay, Hillary Clinton is your best chance to hold a president accountable. Bernie Sanders has said that. If we need to vote her in, she has promised to do as much as we possibly can. There's a booklet of the Democratic, what the Democrats are going to do. In order to make that happen, you have to vote Democrat, all down ticket. You have to vote president, vice president, all the way down. Now, it's not going to really make a difference for vice president because whatever. Which it always amazes me because it's like, well, they make you check that, but automatically if the president wins, the vice president gets the job. It's just how it is now. Back when they first started the presidency, that's another question. That's another story.
Yeah.
But so what I'm trying to say is this. What I'm trying to say is, you guys that are listening to this podcast, and hopefully it'll be out before Election Day, you need to get out, you need to vote, and you need to vote Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And then you need to hold her accountable. I'm not telling you to sit here and not hold her accountable. I'm telling you to vote for her and then hold her accountable just like Bernie Sanders does. I agree with him. Now, when I say hold her accountable, if the whole Congress is still Republican after this election, and they sit there and they block literally everything she wants to do like little pussies, then you can't hold her accountable. You need to vote all of them out and put Democrats back in the White House. In about a year or two, there's going to be another big swash of election for senator and House of people. We need to vote Democrats back in. Mm-hmm. If you want things done, you need to do that. And you need to do that within her 4 years, because if you don't, we're going to fuck ourselves. And it's not going to be... And look, yes, I guarantee you the Republicans within 4 years are going to have a better candidate. Mm-hmm. And all these Republicans that are going to be voting for Hillary, let's face it, there are going to be a lot more than what CNN or anybody's going to do. I mean, come on, they keep some stuff back to keep it suspenseful. You need to understand here, this is the most important time right now. We can make changes. We need to make changes to the healthcare law. We need to make changes to our economy. There's no reason why the healthcare law should say, guess what? You can only work 30 hours because if I put you over 30 hours and it hits that threshold for the insurance, then I have to give you insurance. That's what some companies are doing. Mm-hmm. My company does that. Mm-hmm. And it pisses me off to no fucking end. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's how they're doing it because of the healthcare law. If we change that part, people can work more and we'll have better stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and we'll have more money in the economy. That's what people don't understand. And also, the wage will go up. The wage is already going up in New York, thank God. But for example, Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Atlanta. How much do you think they get paid? $7.25 an hour is minimum wage. The federal minimum wage is $7.25. That's what their minimum wage is. Mm-hmm. That's astonishing. That's astonishing. You're talking about the city of Atlanta. New York City isn't even anywhere near that. And they're pretty much almost the same size at this point now. They're getting there. Well, I mean, okay, maybe it's not as big as New York City, but it's a huge city.
Yeah.
There's a reason why planes fly into there and change over, because it's such a big city.
Mhm.
You know? Chicago. I don't know how much Chicago's charging, but they're charging more than... They're giving more of a charging. Minimum wage is higher there, I'm assuming. What I'm saying is you want these things to happen. You want to make more money. You want to be able to do these things. Then you need to vote this woman in. If you do not, Trump is not going to do it for you.
Yeah, he's gonna do what he can. He's gonna do what he can for him and his friends and the rest of us.
And one other thing, I don't want you to believe me. I don't want you fucking people to believe me here. I want you to go to Hillary Clinton's website and see the detail of what she's planning on to do.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Trump's website. Very little to no detail on anything. And that's why I watch CNN, because I'm trying to figure out some goddamn information.
I'm going to get the best advisors, and I'm going to get the best people, and I'm going to go to the generals, and how can we beat ISIS? All right, before we kind of drag this out a little longer than it should. Well, first, before we go to break, I just kind of want to mention, now that we're talking about the election, one of the things we're also voting on, at least here in Rochester, are like for judges. And there's a person here in town running for a city court judge, Maritza Butrago, who, you know, now mind you, I like her qualifications, but she also, she defended my baby mama when we were having like our custody thing. So I'm really fucking, because I actually like her and I think she's very qualified, but there's also a little personal part of me that's being very petty. And I'm like, you know, when my baby mama wasn't doing the stuff she was supposed to do, you defended her and kept my daughter with her mom when she should have been with me. But that's, you know, and like I said, and for those who follow the podcast, I mean, me and my baby mama are actually things are good right now. Knock on wood. So I think with that, we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
Hopefully.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was.
How did you watch this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-hit.com click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, Paul. So usually this is the nerdy part of the news. I got a couple things here, but let's talk about other kind of current events. How was your Halloween?
I worked.
You worked, okay. I mean, because I would assume like people would go out on Halloween to go see scary movies and stuff like that. So was it a good night? I mean, I went. It's got to be better than your average Monday.
So what happened was I usually work at my one job, which pays most of the bills, on Sunday night, and then I have to be within 3 or 4 hours later. By the time I get home, I have to be at my job at 6 a.m. My other job. Mm-hmm. So the other guy that works nights, I work during the day, those 2 days, sometimes 3, and he calls me up. He works nights, and he called me up, and he texted me, and he's like, so would you want to switch shifts on Monday? And I'm like, go on. And he's like, well, I wanted to go out with my family and trick or treat, and of course I asked her and made sure that was fine. But I got a lot of sleep that day, which I don't normally do. And then I went into work at 3, and I was fine. And I don't mind saying, I work at Mobile. I don't really care, because that one's... Who's going to come to... There's like 50 Mobiles here in New York. You can go ahead and try to find it.
50 Mobiles in Rochester alone.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm very happy with the fact that it wasn't... it was actually a really good day. I did have... There was something that happened at the gas station that was funny. The normal customer
there are people coming in wearing masks and shit.
Well, no, there wasn't any of that. But people would come in. They're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot it was Halloween," and just a normal day for me to work. I was like, "It's pretty much how it is." Mm-hmm. This guy comes in, buys cigarettes, leaves. Nothing abnormal. Maybe about 30 seconds to a minute later, all of a sudden I hear like this yelling outside, and we have these 2 monitors that are above the computer. First of all, we didn't start using those till about a month ago. Mm-hmm. And we've been open for like 4 years since we took it over. And their car's like parked just right there so I can see him. And he's like sitting there yelling at her and whatever. This went on for like 15, 20 minutes. They went behind the gas station and were arguing. And I'm like... And about that time, I was like, all right, I'm going to call the police and have them removed, because I'm not going to be dealing with this all day. Because customers were coming in and like laughing about it.
Oh.
And this is what I hate about police. Like, they just leave, and as they leave, coming down the goddamn bridge is a police officer, and I'm like, I looked at the police officer, I was like, you were just like 1 minute away from catching them. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, so they're not here anymore? I was like, no, they already left. So, yeah, so that was my highlight of my night. So, I heard apparently at the other place I worked, a bunch of old people showed up because
they don't want to be home.
Yeah, they didn't want to be home. They didn't want to give out candy. So that's interesting. I guess that's becoming the new Halloween norm. So
yeah, well, look, because where I take my daughter trick or treating, well, with her mom had suggested we go to another part of town. So I said, all right, I don't want to fucking butt heads. So we go to the other part of town, and this is a very well-to-do area. And was it good? Yes. It was mostly a lot of people with the buckets of candy out, the big bowl of candy outside their house. And, I guess that's all fine and good. I guess if you live in the suburbs, when Halloween falls on a Monday, they've probably been dealing with Halloween all fucking weekend. I'm pretty sure they had trick-or-treaters on Saturday and on Sunday, and now once again on Monday. So I guess, Monday night, watching... wrestling or football or whatever the case may be. I'm pretty sure they're right. And then also, why even come to the door, and have to deal with the bullshit? So they just put out bowls of candy, and we took our allotted candy. We didn't get greedy. And then by the time we were done over there, I'm like, oh, we could go to the place where I like to take my daughter trick or treating. And by that time it was already like 9 o'clock.
Right.
And all the houses seem to like not want. I drove by just thinking, oh, let's see if there's any house that had like the door open and the lights on and Halloween decorations on the lawn. Obviously, they're gonna give out candy, but we kind of drove through, and I was like, you could tell everyone was just sort of burnt out. And that's what sucks when Halloween's on a fucking Monday. Like people don't.
Well, I kind of was like, see, that was the other thing. Like because we usually record on Monday night, so I was just like sitting there going, well, I know Chris is going to take his girl out, so he ain't coming over. So, yeah, I'm going to have to work.
Oh, okay. And I mean, we're recording it not now. I have plenty of time to record every day. So, but, so my daughter was, she was planning to be a cheerleader. I was going to be like a coach character. Like I was going to put the words, I bought the iron-on letters at Walmart that said coach, and I was going to put on my shirt. I bought a whistle. And then, of course, my daughter changes her mind at the last minute. Oh, I want to be Frankie Stein, his characters from Monster High, that like girls' cartoon. Well, it's kids' cartoon, not girls' cartoon, but it's like they're fashion models, but they're monsters or whatever. And the Frankenstein is a character called Frankie Stein. So that was her character. Me, I had what did I do? I said, what can I put together at the last minute? Because now that I wasn't gonna be a coach if she's gonna be fucking Frankie Stein. That's stupid. I said. And I had like my Spider-Man mask that I had at from that I actually got at Comic-Con. I had a while back I had bought these Spider-Man gloves, because I had a feeling I said one day I'm going to use these, so I bought them, and they were like in Walmart for like $3 or something. And then I couldn't find a Spider-Man shirt, like one that looked like Spider-Man
costume. I'm sitting there going, really, Chris?
Yes, I bought a shirt that had a cartoon of Spider-Man on it, and it reminded me, like, remember when you were a kid and you buy that cheap, your parents would buy you the cheap costumes that had the mask, that had the little rubber band on the back.
Yeah, you know what?
And you had to wear the vinyl jumper.
I know we've kind of been talking about like we're old on this podcast today, but it's so interesting. Like 32 years later, how far we've come. Like we don't have those fucking masks that it's like plastic mask, rubber band. Now it's like the actual good mask. I'm like, where the hell was this shit when I was doing Halloween?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
the plastic around the eyes would cut into your skin, and
like
you stick your tongue through that little rice shape. There's a little grain of rice hole right by the mouth, and maybe 2 little holes for the nostrils if you're lucky. You fucking suffocate in those things. But but the thing that always got me was that like if you were Superman, or if you were Spider-Man, in this case, they would have a picture of Spider-Man on the chest.
Right.
And I'm like, Spider-Man doesn't have a picture of himself on the chest. He would just have the spider. And that always bothered me when those costumes always had like, it had to say Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't have a shirt that says Spider-Man on it. Superman doesn't have a picture of Superman on it. Damn it, let me look like Spider-Man. But I guess, my fat bastard, I'm not going to find a Spider-Man shirt in my size. So I got a shirt of Spider-Man, a little cartoony character of Spider-Man swinging. And so, and I got to put on a long sleeve red shirt under that. And so that was my version. And, and once again, the Halloween, you're there with costumes, and yeah, you came across the other kind of occasional trick-or-treaters that kind of walk in the other direction, but like no one's coming to the door, no one's looking at the costume. I have no fucking, nobody like invited me out to any Halloween parties or anything like that. So, like I wore a costume for no reason. I wore it for my daughter. I mean, she liked it, she thought it was neat, she laughed or whatever. So, I mean, I did it for her anyway. But I mean,
did her mother come out with you?
Yeah, her mom came. Because once again, her mom was planning to be like a referee since my daughter wanted to be a cheerleader. But then once my daughter decided not to be a cheerleader, her mom just said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to do anything." And
yeah, that's fine.
So I mean, it was fun. It could have been more fun.
I know. The missus upstairs and my stepdaughter decided that they started to walk around here, I guess, and they found out really quickly that they had to go, like everybody else does around here, go into like Irondequoit and go around the neighborhoods there. And so I guess they had some fun, but it wasn't really long because Sophia doesn't want to.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, kids get very and I have to and it's like you keep telling my daughter, say trick or treat, say thank you.
Which, by the way, I have to say this, like as kids, we used to, my brother David especially, we used to get like 2 or 3 like pillowcases, go down to like it's Riverton, it's down the street from us, and just from my parents' house, and just like go around that whole thing and have like 2 or 3 bags of candy and shit. Like now kids are like, oh, I'm good after this amount of what?
Yeah.
Get your ass back in that car. We're going to the next house.
You went through all this effort. You're getting some fucking candy.
I'm gonna have candy for like 5 months, okay?
But so I mean,
now see that's the trick. Like if you get enough candy to last a year.
Well, I mean, like, you know, obviously, I bought some candy on the off chance that what if kids came to my house, you know, like, so I did buy a bag of candy. So I mean, I didn't have to dip into my daughter's stash or anything like that, you know. But you know, I mean, for a little girl, I mean, you know, a little girl, a 6-year-old girl doesn't need a fucking a pillowcase full of candy. But you know, I guess you know it's good enough. You know, I'm happy with what she got, and you know, I mean, it could have been better, but I think Halloween, just because it fell on a Monday, just fucked a lot of people out of having like fun. But it's funny you mentioned Irondequoit because that's where I would usually go.
Oh, that's what I said to come see it, actually.
To go trick-or-treating, because that's like the suburb here of Rochester. But one thing I've noticed about Irondequoit, and I like this, and this is, you know, and I used to work kind of on the edge of Irondequoit, and I, you know, I go to the library there and stuff.
I'm a little distracted by this Beast Wars figure.
Oh.
It showed up on my feed.
Irondequoit is known for its Italian population. And what I love is when I worked in Irondequoit, dealing with the grandmothers in Irondequoit, like the old school Italian grandmothers, like the "What's the matter, you?" Hey, what do you want? Hey, I come in here, I come to the store, and we go now. You guys are not having the milk. Why don't you having the milk? You know. So there, you know, and it's funny because obviously I know these women have probably been in the country for fucking 30 years, 40 years, but they still kind of have that heavy duty, old school Italian, not like these Americanized fucking upstate fake ass Italians. No offense to present company.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
But the old school Italian. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what's the matter? You making the spaghetti. So, but that's one thing I've noticed about the Irondequoit is I love the old school, because old school Italian grandmothers are like old school Puerto Rican grandmothers. They're not much different. You know, they cook all day and they want to take care of you. And you know, you should eat. So, I just found that pretty cool. Is tonight the World Series? I think today's
Game
like
7.
Game 7. Indians, Chicago Cubs. I guess, you know, for both teams, good for them because they're both teams that like haven't like won a championship in fucking decades. I can give 2 shits about baseball. I don't watch baseball. I don't care. I mean, I guess if I had to choose a side, since we're closest to Ohio, you know, and then Ohio's like, you know, like a 6-hour drive from here, and you know, like Cleveland is like a 6-hour drive from here. And that would be closer to us. And I guess, you know, people from Rochester, like, they've come from, like, Cleveland and stuff like that. So if I had to choose a side, I would say go Cleveland Indians. But once again, I could generally give a fuck about the World Series, which will be happening tonight. By the time this podcast gets released, it'll probably be afterwards, so we'll know who's there. I know last night there were, Ebbets Field, I think, was in Chicago. And it's funny because they literally had like live streaming cams, I guess, in case the Cubs won or whatever. Like I think honestly they had like people periscoping and they had these live cams thinking that fucking riots are probably going to happen. And I certainly hope. I mean, by the time this gets released, it's going to be over with. But you know, don't fucking riot over the fucking. You know, okay, your town hasn't had a championship in a fucking 80 years. Okay, have a good time, enjoy yourself, drink. Don't fucking burn cars. Don't turn shit over. Don't fucking break shit and break fucking store windows. You know, enjoy yourself. Your team won after fucking, and I've seen, one thing I did see, I saw a picture of an old guy, like, he had a shirt that said, like, please one last championship before I die or some shit like that. At least give me one before I die. And it was like this 80-year-old dude with a fucking, with the shirt on. So, once again, I could give 2 shits, but if I had to choose a side, go Indians, I guess. What's that movie, with oh my god, Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, yeah.
Where he plays Wild Thing.
Wild Thing, yeah.
And it's funny, like, that's like a big movie. I can't believe I forgot the name of that series, but you would think that they would have brought any of those guys into the stadium. You know, is it not? No, I was about to say Fever Pitch, not Fever Pitch. Whatever. Fever Pitch is with the Red Sox, the White Sox, or one of the fucking Boston team. So, all right, now we could actually get to the nerdy news. And I was just watching this last night, and not that I was really paying attention because it was fucking boring, but there is a connection on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. between the new Ghost Rider and the old Ghost Rider. We actually got a chance to see, or should I say Ghost Rider Classic, or Johnny Blaze.
They haven't really.
This isn't. I don't think they were purposely saying this is the Nicolas Cage version of Ghost Rider. But I was watching it, and it's the newer, the Latino, the Hispanic Ghost Rider, telling about how he was cursed. How like basically like he was cursed by the original Ghost Rider. So that was pretty interesting. And once again, like, that didn't happen until, like, literally, like, 50-some-odd minutes into the fucking episode. And as much as, I've been trying to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this season, when the episodes were focused on Ghost Rider, they were pretty good. I would say about, like, 2 episodes back, and last episode was pretty good. But last night's one was boring as fuck. And they have this stupid storyline where there's characters that are ghosts, and, they've been around since, like, the Peggy Carter years, and it's about like giving normal people superpowers, which is fucking boring. And here we are, we're like a week away from Doctor Strange coming out in movie theaters. Not one fucking mention, not one comment, not even, and especially that we have a season that has ghosts and Ghost Rider and Devil and Hell and Doctor Strange, who's a magic user. Nothing. They may mention him. They may mention it next episode. Something to do with fuck. Now, last night, there was a sneak preview of Doctor Strange in the episode. Like, at the end of the episode, they actually had, like, which I turned the channel because I don't want to be spoiled. But, like, they know it's going to happen. And I don't know, maybe they don't want to do it because, like, if the show goes into syndication, then, like, why would they have all these connections? Or maybe, but, the Netflix series are going so good. The movies are doing fucking fantastic because I've heard like nothing but good reviews for Doctor Strange. I think it's like at one point it actually hit 100% in Rotten Tomatoes. I mean I think I've heard some complaints about how the main villain looks at the end, which I don't want to spoil, and also how this is basically Iron Man 1 just with Doctor Strange, which is not a fucking issue for me because Iron Man 1 was a great movie, but what was it? So, you would think that they would even try to incorporate Doctor Strange or a fucking hint or something but no, like there's no fucking mention of Doctor Strange. But, and especially in a season where we're dealing with supernatural, we're dealing with ghosts, we're dealing with demons, why not
there it is.
Use magic for Doctor Strange?
I found the scene for Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Well, we can't play it because they'll be copyrighted. That's owned by fucking Disney, so we ain't doing shit on that. But also last night I had watched the new episode of The Flash, which this season is doing pretty good. Last night's episode was sort of a filler episode, but I like what they're doing with the whole Flashpoint thing. Which oddly enough, I rewatched the Flashpoint Paradox movie about 3 days ago. I said, no, I had it on my computer, so I said, fuck it, let me put it on. That's such a good fucking movie. Like I'm so excited about that. Now with Flashpoint this season, and it's not really spoiling. The first episode, he goes back and saves his mom, and then he goes back to this timeline, and obviously how all things have changed, but then he realizes that everyone's life is fucked up. Like he went back and saved his mom, but all his friends' lives are all jacked up and shit like that. So then he gets Eobard Thawne, and this isn't really like a spoiler, but he tells Eobard, okay, I guess we have to restore the timeline. We have to go and kill my mom. He has to go. He has to go.
Talking about?
Well, in both that happens in the movie, but that also happens in the series where he tells Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, the Yellow Flash, Zoom, whatever you fucking want to call him. Okay, you can kill my mom, and kind of brings him to the past to kill his mom so things can go back to normal. But now that he's put things back to normal, they haven't gone back to normal. Things are all kind of fucked up now. Like You know, so it almost kind of reset the whole series. So now they can do whatever the fuck they want. But one thing I do like is they're the character that's been there forever, Anna Panabaker, Caitlin. They're bringing in Caitlin Snow as in they're bringing in Killer Frost.
Right.
She's using her powers now. She, you know,
I hope she doesn't turn into a bad guy though.
That's would be interesting. They'll turn her into a bad guy, and then she can. But then, see, my issue about the Flash, and let me get really nerdy here for a second, is you got alternate timelines, but then you got alternate Earths.
Can I? If we're on that subject of the Arrowverse, can I talk about Arrow? Because I'm about to write a review. I'll probably do it today. Anybody that's if you're watching season 5 of Arrow right now, it's actually not that bad at all. What really so I went back and I've been putting this off for like almost a month now to write this review for Arrow season 4 because Warner Brothers sent me a copy, and I'm just sitting there going, this season sucks. like there's no way around it. Like it, and I went back and I looked at, I think it was IGN did one for season 4, and they gave it like pretty much right around where I was gonna give it. To just tell you how bad it was, it's probably gonna get like 6.5. What they did, like, Flash hasn't done this yet. Actually, Flash season 2 was a lot better than I thought it would be. It wasn't as good as season 1. I don't remember what I gave season 1 an 8.5, but I only did that because, and I rate this in the review, the only reason why it didn't get like a 9, or maybe possibly a little bit higher, was because some of the like secondary actors were kind of like their acting was just like, what the fuck are you even here for?
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the other reason was. There was something else that didn't make sense, and I was just like, okay, that takes a point off for that. Oh, it was the fact that it depended on season 1 depended so much on Arrow. I don't know if you've seen season 1, but season 1 of Arrow depended so much. Season 1 of Flash depended so much on Arrow. It was just like, why? Like you could have done this a lot better. Now, would it have been as good? I don't know, but there's at least 3 or 4 times where Arrow shows up or a character from Arrow shows up. Which, by the way, like Felicity, who showed up, I think that would have been a great relationship if they would have pursued it. I understand that she was in love with Oliver Queen, and then that eventually happened. But after what happened in season 4 of Arrow, I'm kind of sitting there going, buyer's remorse here. Like you should have put Barry and her together, because honestly, like it would have turned out a lot better. Because one of my biggest issues, and this is something I think that would be great to talk about on this podcast, is, have you seen season 4
of Arrow?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So
I've probably seen maybe 5 episodes of Arrow throughout the fucking past 4 seasons.
So I got into Arrow. I saw the first 3 seasons on Netflix. Got into Arrow, and actually, to be honest with you, the first 3 seasons probably filter between an 8 and a 9. They're pretty good. The first season of Arrow is closer to an 8. I think my favorite season is season 2. Season 3 kind of is in between those two, but it's not like season 1 was. Season 1, I compare it to Spider-Man in that first trilogy of Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1 was good for what it was. It's set up great, but it could have been maybe a little bit better. You know what I mean? Not to say that it was a bad movie, because it wasn't. Same thing with Arrow. It wasn't a bad show in the first season, but whatever. Look, I digress. Let me get to season 4. Felicity has become this like really big character. You know, she's kind of like in Batman, where Batgirl in some incarnations of the comic book becomes Oracle. She's Overwatch. She's
the computer.
His Oracle.
Yeah.
Right. So, which is great, and I like that. So they finally get into a romantic relationship, and what happens between season 3 and season 4 is she, and again, if you haven't watched it yet, I guess fuck you, you're gonna get spoilers, but whatever. her and Oliver go and start a life. He stops being the Arrow. But his team actually continues defending the city. So I think it's supposed to be 5 months later or something, they get called back to the city because, they're having problems stopping this Damien Dark. And first of all, she lies about the fact that she's been helping the team, which she wasn't supposed to be doing. She lies about not wanting to bring him back there. She also lied about the fact that she had a suit made for him, and it was just sitting there waiting for him to use. But what kills me is in this season we find out that in a crossover episode with the Flash, we find out that the Arrow has a kid, and it's you see this you in Arrow you see this because I think it was season 1, season 2 too. His mother paid this woman off and said, "Just go away. He doesn't need to know that he has a kid." Blah blah blah. Whatever. I know I'm doing a lot of explaining, but I'm getting to my point. So she brought him back, and he was fine with that. But he finds out about this kid, and he doesn't. The woman that has his kid tells her, "You can't tell anybody, not even the woman that you're with." So there's this episode where, and Flash went back in time because they all died. Flash literally made it right into the time war before they died, before he died, and I'm not going to give away that episode because that's a really good scene in season 4. Those crossover episodes. He doesn't tell Felicity, and it happens a little bit differently now because obviously Flash changed the timeline and whatever, and she's not happy about it. She's supposed to be getting married to Oliver, and he kept this secret from her. And eventually at the end of the episode, he sends. First of all, his kid's mom finds out that he's the Arrow. And then he tells her after he gets the kid back, he says, you need to take our son, go somewhere. I don't care where it is. Do not tell me where it is. But and he records, at the end of the episode, he's recording a video for his son. And it's kind of you kind of tear up a little bit because, I'm a father, you're a father, and you have that kind of connection. You're just you're going to do whatever you need to for your kid. And he's, he's supposed to view it at 18 years of age. Well, Felicity gets all pissed. She's like, well, I really haven't said anything, but you lied to me. I can't be with you. And I'm sitting there going, so he lies about something to protect his son. And if you look at it if you take a step back from the situation, you look at it and you go, well, it's also broader about the fact that he is the Arrow. He could be married at that point. You don't want this bad guy to learn about your son. Makes sense. And she gets pissed. And throughout the rest of season 4, she's like, oh, I'm not going to be with you, but I'm going to help you, which I would have been like, I don't know about you, but I would have been like, fuck you, bitch, get the away from me. And she just, what is it? Your connection is weak.
Your connection is weak.
And I know people are probably like, at this point, but what really pissed me off about what they did with Felicity's character is they turned her into this, why the fuck is she still around now kind of character. Now, not a lot of people are going to agree with me with that, but as a father, as somebody that, has a kid and understands that, if I have to lie to somebody because I want to see my kid, and that's the only choice I have, too fucking bad. That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So, I understand, I think what they're trying to do, and I'm hoping that it translates into Flash too, is they're trying to not write themselves into a corner. Because they wrote themselves into a corner with that character. Even while I'm watching in season 5, she has a new man. And that pisses me off even more now. And I'm sitting there going, you people are stupid, aren't you? Why have you not put these two back together? You've hurt her character at this point. If you're not going to kill her, and she's not going to leave the team, why is she still around? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of like I can kind of see. I'm hoping they don't do that with Flashpoint, and I actually haven't seen any of season 3 of Flash. It gets confusing.
Yeah.
So,
Season 4 of Arrow, Season 3 of Flash, and
But
it's been good. Like I said, last night's episode was a bit of a filler episode, but this season's once again, not as good as 1, not as good as 2. And just I think they brought in characters from Arrow into season 1 because Flash was sort of Arrow was doing so well that Flash kind of it doesn't hurt to kind of get a little boost from the popular kid, and then it's funny because in my opinion I think kind of Flash kind of overtook the Arrow, but then again time will tell Flash will probably fizzle out.
Well, and here's the thing, like Arrow,
I don't want it to, but I think Flash is going to hit a wall eventually.
Well, and in this new season of Arrow,
how fast you run, you're going to hit a wall.
Well, in this new season of Arrow too, like he's back to like his kind of badass thing, and I like that about the Arrow. And in that season, one of my also problems was he was just a pussy. Like dude, I'm not even kidding. Like he wasn't. He was like just like. I'm sitting there going, why is this guy even the green? I understand he's trying to be a good guy, but even him, he's not even like. He just came off like a pussy as a like it seemed like he was like getting his ass kicked a little bit more than usual, and it's just like that's not the Arrow. There were a couple episodes where like he was pissed at Felicity because of what she did, and he was just like beating the shit out of people. I'm like, that's yes. I'm like, yes. And then he went back to being a pussy, and I'm like, no. I'm like, come on. And see, that's the problem. Like, the best part of this season, through that crossover episode, was good. It was fine. Then they started getting into stupid shit, and it just went south. And it wasn't any of the action. It wasn't the team. I thought that all of that actually was good. That gave it the score that I was going to give it, because if it wasn't for that, it would have been it would have been lower than a 5, in my opinion. Obviously, it's a little bit higher than a 5. I'm not saying it's a 5, but if it wasn't for that, it would have gone down. It would have been, like.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that Arrow won't be as bad. So.
You mean Flash won't be as bad?
Well, no. I'm hoping that Arrow won't be as bad. I'm hoping also Flash doesn't go into that direction.
Flash has been okay, and from what I'm getting, they haven't gotten, because Kevin Smith directed an episode, and he, I think we're going to see we've already seen full on Killer Frost when they went to Earth 2, but I think Killer Frost, from what I understand, plays heavily in the episode. That he, and that's not. It's a spoiler, but not really spoiler because he's kind of set it on for anyone who follows Kevin Smith. I like Killer Frost. I love Anna Panabaker. She was. Do you ever see that movie Sky High? That it was sort of.
Caitlin was in that.
She's in Sky High. She's the girl who plays Layla, the female friend in the movie who's good with plants and stuff like that. And actually, in spoilers if you haven't seen Sky High, the villain. The girl is, she's the chick from 10 Cloverfield Lane, and a couple other things, but, the main villain. So it's funny how, like, that movie, that people have kind of gone on to do other things. And I had a crush on her back on fucking Sky High. That called me a dirty old man. But, and now that I'm glad she's working, and and it's kind of cute. You like seeing, like, this cute girl turn into a bad girl. But in somewhat related Flash news, the Flash movie has lost its second director.
Yes.
The second director, and I don't have the guy's name off the top of my head. I think all that really needs to be said is that the director is left the season, left the movie, and it's sort of like there's a teeny tiny part of me that like let someone from the show do it, or what I'm saying, like or even like when we have, because in the show that has alternate timelines and alternate Earths and everything like that, you know, can we somehow tie it into the movies? Just say it's an alternate universe or whatever. Just, you know, show when the Flash, you know, in the show when he goes into the Speed Force.
They actually said that's what they're thinking about. The director of Flash is trying to get them to do like a scene where he's in the Flash, where he's obviously in the Speed Force.
Yeah, he's in the Speed Force,
and then all of a sudden, like, that other Flash comes up next to him, waves, and then goes by.
I mean, even if you don't even have to have the actors there. Take Ezra Miller. You know, I'm pretty sure they have test footage. Put the test footage in the fucking
is that
background.
Flash in the movie Barry Allen too, or is that?
Yeah, that's Barry Allen, but it's a different Flash, and you know, I mean, it looked good in Batman v Superman.
That would have benefited a little bit more if they picked a different Flash, but I mean, that would
yeah,
still
I mean,
work.
I'm hoping that, like, I don't know, give me 2 seconds of.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, put Ezra Miller, and like I said, it doesn't. You don't have to get him you don't have to get him in the suit. I'm pretty sure there's test footage. I'm pretty sure that somewhere, just when Barry Allen's in the Speed Force in the TV show, give us a glimpse of Ezra Miller, something. You know,
giving me. Here's something else I want to talk about too, involving that actually.
Mm-hmm.
Batman should be put in the TV series now.
Because we have
obviously,
Superman.
We have multiverse. We've already put multiverse in.
Mm-hmm.
Superman's been on Supergirl. Now, Batman. There's no reason why you can't have Batman. Here's my reasonings. A, both Arrow and Flash do not have their parents.
Mm-hmm.
B, it would make a lot of sense now in this timeline, because now you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And C, it would just really work right now when you have all of these guys together, and then you can actually do a TV Justice League. You can go that step. And here's my argument on that. You got Batman, you got Martian Manhunter, you got Flash. If you add Batman to it, there's 4 members right there. Now, I'm not saying that we should go to that extent, because obviously Green Lantern. I mean, you do have
Cyborg,
you do
Green Lantern,
actually you do have Hawk Girl.
Shazam.
You do have Hawk Girl, so you could do that. Because the original members, and again, you know, there's so many fucking comics out there that there's not really a real team, but Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, Martian Manhunter, and Hawk Girl, and then you obviously have Wonder Woman. You could, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here you can run. Obviously, because they have the movie doing Justice League, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, because people are stupid and people.
But
get
I would
confused.
I mean, Batman, both Batman and Batman. I'm getting ahead of myself. Arrow and Flash have hinted Batman. Actually, Supergirl hinted at Batman when the first episode there of Supergirl for season 2, where they save some Superman saves some people on the side, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go back to Gotham."
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just like,
and then see, unfortunately, then there's also a show called Gotham. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's I'm just saying another reason I'm not going to do it is
this is my thought process, Chris, and maybe you'll follow me on this, and I think you'll like this idea. So, obviously, Gotham is getting to the point where we're starting to see Bruce Wayne progress. I haven't watched the series, but I've been seeing, you know, we started to see older and older and older. So, what I'm saying here is, why not have, because granted, I think if I'm correct, Arrow is older than Bruce Wayne, if I'm correct. I could be wrong, but I think he is older. So this would it would be, and I'm saying this as more of less Arrow introducing another character into the universe before the series gets ended, because granted, this is season 5. You figure it at least has maybe 1 or 2 seasons left before you know, they're going to chop it, because at some point they're going to chop it. I think that one of the last things that he should do is introduce Batman. And again, I think we're in season 3 of Gotham, so that's not a bad possibility, because we're going to, you know, hopefully we can get to that point. And I think even if Gotham is playing, you know, I think that they can introduce him and then put that person in Gotham at the end of the series, and then now we have the Batman series, and now we can bring Flash in. Arrow can guest star.
Did they bring in Constantine?
They did. They did bring in Constantine.
So what they could do is give Gotham a couple more seasons, and then what you can do is then, I don't know. I mean, even if the actor, the kid, I mean, he's a kid now, but he's like a teenager. I mean, you can bring in a young Bruce Wayne. You can bring in I don't want to say pre-Batman Bruce Wayne, but pretty much. No. I mean, I guess, or a year one Batman. You know, you could bring in a Batman who's like, he's just turned into Batman. Well, and he just got back from the Orient. You know,
there again, you can also argue that the Gotham that's going on the Fox series is a different Earth than what is going on in this one.
Yeah, because the Gotham universe is very absurd. I mean, of course, yeah. I mean, so is I mean, Flash is absurd also, but Gotham is almost fucking campy.
But they can. You know, but see, that's the thing. Like, now that they've introduced this in Flash, where there's a multiverse, and on Supergirl, obviously. So now you can just go wild with this shit. You can justify anything you want to do. Yeah. You can bring in a Batman and then say that that's not the TV.
Well,
Batman.
I mean, it's never going to happen. But if you got Ben Affleck, you can have. I'm just saying it ain't gonna happen.
It's not gonna. But I'm just saying DC is very religious about that.
What I'm saying, but Ben Affleck could show up in these fucking shows and just say it's alternate universe.
Here's where it's going to be interesting, and obviously we're probably going to come to the end of the podcast here soon. But let me just say this real quick. It's going to be really interesting when Marvel does the next Avengers movie, because here's the thing. They're supposed to use the Defenders. They're supposed to use those characters in those TV series as part of Avengers. If it's that case, then I think, and it works, keyword works, which so far the Avengers has worked, then what we can do is we can sit there and go, okay, DC, it worked in Avengers, why not do the same thing here? You know what I mean? Makes sense to me. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but
DC's trying to distance themselves from what Marvel's doing. You know, I mean, of course, I mean, what's right is right, but I think DC's sort of they're a little gun shy. They don't want
I think if you were to take, like, that's the one thing, like I've always said, like, DC has a handle on animated shows. Marvel does not even come close to doing animated movies. I will put money on that any day of the week. And they're also, I would say that they've also got a better hold on TV series as well now. Marvel has a hold on movies, and they are starting to do well with their TV series. Not saying that they are good, not as good as DC's, but they're starting to come to that level. I would love to see Marvel do a little bit more with their animation, because I think that they're losing it here. And I think Disney should think about put it on Toonami, obviously. I mean, come on, hey, whatever. I'm a Toonami guy. I want everything on fucking Toonami. People should know this by now. But I mean, in all seriousness, even with Star Wars Rebels, I think like shows like that could be handled a lot better with, for example, Toonami, people that have been working on shows for years and years and years now. And I think Marvel could benefit from that. I think that they could get a better audience. It's Adult Swim for that matter, so you could go a little bit darker and just go fucking wild. See, that's the problem with what DC was doing with those animated shorts. They're not animated shorts. The animated that's only on their CW Seed app oh god, what is her name? The one that touches the amulet and she can call on animals for the powers. No, not Huntress. She was actually in Arrow. She's going to be in that other series that with all the heroes on it.
Not the only person that not Black Canary.
No. She was in in the animated series. She was in a relationship with Green Lantern. Oh God, what is her name?
I thought it was Hawkgirl. That was with Green Lantern.
No. In Unlimited.
Oh, I never saw Unlimited.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to look this up. But my thing is like
podcasting.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta look this up here.
But you know what it is? I mean, but they look not to totally poo-poo on your argument, but you know, I mean, Disney has Disney XD. You know, when I was in my mom's house about a month ago or 2 months ago, I had caught an episode of the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, and it was fucking good. Holy shit! It was really and like they kept it true to the way the movie looks and the movies and the way the characters' relations are. You know, I haven't seen an episode in a while, but I know, like, I'm pretty sure they have some sort of version of, you know, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of version of Spider-Man still going. But, like, the animated shows on Disney XD, as in for Marvel, they seem pretty decent. You know, I mean, unfortunately, they're kind of limiting themselves by putting it on fucking Disney XD. And, you know, maybe it's on Netflix also, but, you know, they do need a broadcast. They need a broadcast one. You know, I mean, not that, I mean, the Disney XD is broadcast, but, you know, they should probably put those cartoons, like, on ABC, like, you know, Saturday morning or something like that, or you know, give something for the kids, because it's all run by Disney anyway. But, like I said, I was super impressed by that episode of Guardians of the Galaxy for Disney XD. So as much as I love, and I think they would go to Toonami, I think, you know, they're gonna stay, you know,
who knows,
home on Disney XD or whatever other channels Disney runs. Let me see. So while you look that up, I guess we can kind of, I just, you know, I just have in my notes, Negan killed Glenn on The Walking Dead. Okay, spoilers. A lot of people fucking lost their shit watching The Walking Dead on Facebook the next day. Like, the Facebook that night, everyone was fucking having a fucking heart attack. Oh, Negan killed Glenn. Yeah, Negan killed Glenn. That was from the comics. I mean, this shit that happened in the comics. There's no surprise. People knew
that's who it is. It's Vixen.
Vixen. Okay,
Vixen.
That's a little above and beyond my pay grade. I don't know who the fuck Vixen is, and I'm a DC person. I've actually picked up a couple episodes of the DC Reborn. The new Superman, which now in DC Reborn they're doing. Superman has a son now that he had with Lois Lane, and they're out. I've only read like literally the first issue, and it's not really spoilers, but it's like, you know, Superman, like they've called themselves, like, instead of Clark Kent, he's like Clark Smith, and instead of Lois Lane, she's like Lois Smith, and they're trying to live like a hidden lifestyle, but they bought a farm, and I'm pretty sure it's in Smallville, and it's like he's Superman, but he's trying not to be Superman. But they have a kid who's half human, half Kryptonian, and the kid has powers. And
what's the series?
It's you know, DC did another reboot. Now it's called DC Rebirth or whatever, or Reborn or Rebirth or whatever.
Oh, it's in the comics.
So the first Superman issue is about Superman having a kid and living on a farm, and his kid trying to fucking, you know, blend in or whatever. But, you know, he has Kryptonian powers. He can pick up things. He can fucking shoot lasers out of his eyes, and he's trying to be normal. But like even Clark Kent. But the funny thing is, Clark Kent or Clark Smith or whatever the fuck you want to call him, he's telling his son, hey, you know, be careful. Don't, you know, you have powers, but don't use them. But then, like, he's on the farm floating around carrying around bales of hay, but he's flying around carrying bales of hay, and I'm like, if you're telling your son to fucking, you know, keep a low profile, and then you're flying around the fucking farm with bales of hay, I mean, people could drive by and see that shit. So those are just my keys.
Oh.
And you know, I've read the new Batman. I guess there's a new Batman. Well, there's Batman, and then there's like this new guy in Gotham, who he's saying like his name is like Gotham, like his name is Gotham or some shit like that, or it's not Gotham Knight. It might even be Gotham Knight or some shit like that. But it looks like as if Superman put on Batman's cowl and now he wants to defend Gotham, or it's a superhero defending Gotham now, but he has his own like funky cowl the way Batman has a funky cowl. I mean, I'm not getting into it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to see if it's going to be any good, and so far I'm not loving it. I have the new Wonder Woman. I haven't read it yet. The new Flash seems pretty good, and Rebirth, but it's more of the same, except I mean, they have Iris in the comics, but Iris was damn near white, but Wally's still black, which is weird because I thought they were brother and sister. Oh no, I'm sorry. In the new comic, Iris, Wally West is Iris's like nephew or some shit like that. He's not even her brother. It says I don't know. They're changing a couple things around, and I'm pretty sure it got changed from whatever it was to what it is in the series. But if you're doing a show called Rebirth, and everyone's sort of getting familiar with the show, just leave the relationship as Iris West and Wally West are brother sister. Like I said, I haven't read the new Wonder Woman yet. Like I said, Superman I didn't like, Batman was okay. And I think we're kind of running long. We should probably wrap it up.
That's what she said.
So for the new listeners...
It's podcast therapy, so there you go.
Podcast therapy. I got it all out of me. I'm feeling a lot better now. Now, please visit. I've spent a little time on it. Not a lot of time. I've spent zero money on the new twostrangersonepodcast.net. It's nothing fancy, but it'll get you everything that you need to know. It'll connect you to our iTunes page, which once again I've reset. So if you're wondering, this is episode 229 and I only see episode 228 and 226. Where the fuck are the rest of the episodes? One, it's going to take me time to re-upload all those episodes. But if you are that interested in checking out our old episodes, you can go on Facebook and just look up Two Strangers One Podcast, and every single episode up until last one. I haven't put this one on YouTube just yet. But it will be, this episode will eventually go up on YouTube, the video at least. So you can, our most recent episodes, since we've switched over to our SoundCloud servers, are on iTunes. If you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, or an iPod, and you have a Stitcher device, you can go on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app, available for Android devices. Which is the app that I use when I listen to podcasts. I put it on the listen later option, and I also put it on the available offline option. So when I'm in a Wi-Fi spot, when I'm in Paul's house, or if I'm at McDonald's or the public library, I download all my episodes onto my phone, and then when I'm out and about running my errands and such, not when I'm at work, not anymore, then I can listen to episodes on my phone. And Chris Hardwick's The Nerdists, Kevin Smith's Smodcast, This American Life, what else? And of course, I was trying to name all these other ones before I get to the last one. The most importantly, Paul's other baby, the Toonami Faithful Podcast, is on Stitcher. Check it out.
Darrell calls you a whore, by the way, because you're with me right now.
And and then new news. This is something new for the new. Now that we're on a new server, we are now on the Google Play Store. I haven't put the links up yet because it took a couple days to get. To get approved, but we are part of the Google Play Store. I have not yet put that link on the page, but I'm pretty sure all you have to do is just go to the Google Play Store and hit search for Two Strangers One Podcast under the podcast. There's books available, there's music, and of course now you can listen to us on the Google Play Store.
Right.
So yet another way to reach out to us. I submitted us for Pandora. I thought Pandora did podcasts also. Someone had brought it to my attention. I'm still waiting to hear back from that. I might have fucked up the process on how to do it, but we may be available on Pandora soon also, but not just yet, not officially yet. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast, which is pretty much our most active thing right now. Like I said, I've just started a new group called Two Strangers One Podcast Network, and I'm going to slowly be adding people because on Facebook you can't add too many people at once or they'll shut down your fucking account. So I'll be adding people about 5 at a time, adding them as friends, and then bringing them into the group. So if you'd like to join that group, feel free to look up Facebook.com, Two Strangers One Podcast group. But if you want to like our page, just go to Facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast. Like that page. And it's weird that our fan page and our group page are two separate things, but the way Facebook operates, they want you to throw money at them, or they're not going to promote your page. It's sad that we have damn near 500 followers, but when I make a post, only 20 people see it because Facebook wants more money. And I'd like to use Facebook, but you know their business plan really screws over people. If you get a genuine like, and then those people can't even see the posts because I haven't given them money yet. So, like I said, if you want to join the group, that's where you'll probably find a lot more activity in that group, in Two Strangers One Podcast Network. If you want to write us, I checked our email. You can write us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. Usually we get a love letter from Oscar every week. We haven't gotten one this week, which I'm actually surprised. But we answered his letter. We spent the first half of last episode talking about the election because sparked by Oscar's email. So if you're a new person and you want to find out what we're all about, or if you want us to discuss something like we went in depth over here in this most recent episode, feel free to write us at twostrangersonepodcast.com, at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. And of course, follow us on Facebook. Excuse me, not Facebook. On YouTube. If you want to find the old episodes, if you're brand new to the show and you want to take in all the old episodes, feel free to go on YouTube. I can't tell you, I'm not telling you to like the videos and to share the videos and to click on their advertisers. But if you happen to do that, it would be greatly appreciated on YouTube. And now that I have more time on my hands, I can actually put out my second book as an audiobook, which I guess I'll get around to doing now that I have nothing but time on my hands. And like I said, YouTube, just search for Two Strangers on a Podcast. Please subscribe, even if you're not on YouTube and you're not a person that watches videos all the time. Go on your YouTube and just subscribe to us because we need more subscriptions. And that sounds like, why is my phone ringing again? I don't know this person. Stop calling me. You're a bill collector. So I know bill collectors, damn it. No, it's not. They just want you to use their service. That's part of the thing. You get the phone, and then they want to fucking harass you to upgrade your service or whatever. Yeah, follow us on YouTube because that turns into money, and apparently I need money right now. So, Paul, I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
So I don't need money, but you can follow me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can ask me questions. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. You can also look at pictures of stuff. Mm-hmm. Instagram.com/Paul Pascrillo. And hopefully we'll be posting more stuff. But and then you can also email me. It's Paul Pascrillo at ToonamiFaithful.com if you guys have anything you want to talk to me about or bitch at me about or whatever. Just know if you're a complete utter asshole, I probably will delete your email immediately. So, just letting you know that right now. But yeah, so there you go.
That's about it. We certainly hope you enjoyed listening. Had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye.
You should be fapping every night to our podcast.
I need a job. Anybody hiring?
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.